Okay, this second video is going to be so short you might say it was hardly worth having a video by itself. I'm contemplating combining it with some others, but trying to keep these things a little bit short. If you remember our last video, we are trying to illustrate making a business rule, and our simple, modest little project is we want, whenever we save the creation of an ER account, we want to push a message that says, don't forget to set up the WHO analysis code for this employee. Just a simple little business rule to illustrate how to make them. Don't worry, we're going to get into more sophisticated ones. Our business rule needs a message. The logic of it, the pure logic of the way this program was put together, is that you create the event and then you create the message and then you put together the rule set that is fired off by the event and produces the message. You see, so these would be the raw materials needed for the rule set, and that's the way I'm teaching it. But I will tell you that on a practical level, pure practical level, you probably create your messages on the fly whenever you need them. You just rush over and create the message. But we're going to do it formally, and we'll create the message first before we try to create the rule set. So let's look at what messages do. With the message, the first thing you choose is the language code of the message. And so the cool thing here is that you could create the message. I mean, this is very sophisticated, way beyond maybe what you're thinking. But you might have a message that is fired off, and it gives the message in English if the user's language is English, and it gives it in French if the user's language is French, and Spanish if the user's language is Spanish, determined by their language selection. So you may create the same message 3 times in each of the 3 languages, or 5 times in each of the languages, and then fire it off depending on the language of the user. We are going to make ours in English. So we want to create a message code that identifies our message. You might make it something like MAC, so everyone knows that it's your message code. One of the problems that you will have with making business rules is that you've got the business rules you create and the business rules that are coming from our office, and you want to be able to know whose are whom. You'll create MAC to identify that these are yours and they're local just to your organization. You might put down the organization name. And this is important too, because the upgrade won't have your business rules, and so you'll have to be able to extract your business rules from your old and carry it into the new. Well, you need to know which ones are yours and clearly identifiable. Create a message code that somehow or another clearly links to your world and is not part of our big normally distributed business rules. Okay, and it says, do we want to create this message MAC? All right, and the message is simple. It says, don't forget to create the WHO analysis code for this new employee. Remember what we're doing in the chart of accounts. When we create this new employee ER account, we want that message to come up right there. And so that's our message, and we go okay, and we're done. You would say that was hardly worth the video. And so you can see here, if we clear the screen and we put in here 1 for the language, and then we come here, we can see all the messages that have already been created as part of our core distribution. You can see all the messages that came out with the core design here. And with a little thought, you can do reverse engineering. Suppose you are getting one of these messages, say at ledger entry. So you know the event is a ledger entry event business rule. It's a business rule connected to ledger entry. You're getting the message, and so you'll now scan through the business rules for ledger entry event. I'll show you all about this a little more clearly in the next video, and find your message, and then try to figure out why the rule is not working the way you expect, or the rule is interfering with your work, and seeing what needs to be debugged about the rule or modified about the rule makes sense. I hope that you are very careful about modifying the business rules that come as part of CORE. It would be improper for me to say that you should never mess with one of the core business rules, but you should only mess with them if you know what you are doing. The purpose of the business rules, every one of them, is to keep you straight. And so if you want to change a business rule, you're basically saying you know what's going on and it's okay what you're doing. If the business rule is preventing you from posting between two different funds in one entry, well, that's a pretty important business rule. You don't want to override that. But I can give you an example. The standard asset setup, the business rule automatically defaults an asset setup to straight line depreciation. It gives the impression that everybody must use straight line in this Sunplus world, but in Korea, they needed to be able to use declining balance, and so they had to go in, and I showed them how to do it, go in and modify the business rules so it would allow them to create an asset using double declining balance, the declining balance method. It is your software in your world, and it's your destruction. Unfortunately, if you take one of these business rules off, you are going out on a limb all by yourself, and we hope you're okay. When some of you that are watching this are sophisticated enough to modify the business rules and know what is going on, and some of you are not. So the purpose of these videos really are to focus you on making your own business rules and not teaching you how to modify the ones that we are distributing in CORE. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. However, it may be useful for you to know what business rule is causing you the problem and understand it, just so you can work with support a little bit on helping you get past whatever business problem the business rule is causing. And hopefully none of them cause any problem, but you know, every once in a while there will be a problem. So that's why we need to be very careful about monkeying with the business rules that come out from CORE. Mostly what we want from these videos is you creating your own business rules, including the idea of you creating a business rule that you think is very helpful and you sharing it to us so we can include it in CORE for everyone else. So thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for the next one. And the next one, we're really getting to creating the rule itself. And so make sure you're with us. And so I appreciate you watching. Thank you.